Welcome back to Galaxy Recaps. Today we'll be diving into an action thriller film titled Wrath of Man. Enjoy the recap. The movie kicks off with a pulse-pounding scene as two guards from Fortico, a high-security company, find themselves caught in a deadly ambush. A cement truck suddenly blocks their path, and a team of ruthless armed robbers springs into action. The guards are forcibly dragged out as the robbers start loading money bags into their getaway vehicle. Gunshots echo through the chaos, creating a scene of utter mayhem. Fast forward 3 months and we meet Terry, the hard-nosed manager of Fortico. He's briefing Patrick Hill, a new recruit brought in to fill the void left by the tragic heist that claimed the lives of 2 guards and an innocent civilian. Patrick must first prove his mettle by passing rigorous firearms tests. Under the watchful eye of his trainer, Bullet, Patrick barely meets the stringent requirements, but it's enough to earn him a spot on the team. From that moment, he's christened with the nickname H. Soon after, H is introduced to his quirky colleagues, Hollow Bob and Boy Sweat Dave. Their first money drop-off together goes off without a hitch, a deceptively smooth operation that belies the dangers lurking in their line of work. But the following day, reality strikes hard. H and Dave are out on another job when they receive an urgent message through their walkie-talkies. Armed robbers are demanding they stop, with Bullet held captive. The tension is palpable as H is forced to comply, throwing money bags into the back of a pickup truck. But H has a plan. He purposely drops one of the bags, creating a distraction. When one of the robbers steps out to investigate, H seizes the moment. In a lightning-fast move, he throws a bag and then, with pinpoint accuracy, shoots the man in the head. What follows is a stunning display of combat prowess as H takes down each gunman, one by one with deadly precision. He shoots the last one before chasing down the leader, who flees through a building, but the pursuit doesn't last long. H eventually catches up to him and shoots him in the leg, dropping him. He questions him on who he works for, but he refuses to talk, so H finishes him off with a brutal shot to the head. Bullet and Dave finally arrive and H asks them if they're alright before taking off the masks of all the thugs, seeing if he recognizes any of them. The next day, an investigation into the matter takes place. The plot thickens when H is asked to review the footage of the original heist. As he scans the video, he zeroes in on one particular gunman, but outwardly claims nothing looks familiar. Despite his heroics, H's actions come under scrutiny. Terry, ever the disciplinarian, insists that H should be relegated to desk duty for at least a month due to company policy. However, Fortico's CEO, Blake Halls, sees something extraordinary in H and believes he deserves a promotion, not a punishment. Meanwhile, 2 covert agents working under the enigmatic Agent King believe that H, with his relentless drive and sharp instincts, could be the key to unraveling the mystery of the first heist. Later that night, H is visited by a woman who gives him Fortico personnel files and an autopsy report. The next day, H is greeted with a wave of applause from his fellow guards, celebrating his daring heroics. 3 months later, Bullet and H are making a delivery when another harrowing incident unfolds. Their path is blocked by a motorcycle and armed men surround their truck. The attackers attach a smoke device, forcing Bullet out of the vehicle. But when H steps out and reveals his face, the gunmen freeze. They recognize him instantly and, in a surprising turn, retreat without a fight. Back at headquarters, Terry is bewildered by how H's mere presence scared off the armed men. Blake, however, sees this as a testament to H's formidable reputation. He silences Terry, commending H and promising him his own franchise if he continues his exceptional work. Meanwhile, Bullet confides in Boy Sweat Dave, suggesting that there's more to H than meets the eye. It's as if the thieves recognized him and refers to him as a dark spirit. That night, H takes matters into his own hands. He confronts a guard named Dana. He discovers a suspicious stack of money in her apartment. Confronting her, he fires a few shots to intimidate her into talking. Terrified, Dana admits she stole the money from a job a few months back. H then shows her photos of her parents, warning her that any lies would have severe repercussions. The story flashes back 5 months. H is spending time with his son Dougie, who is visiting the States on holiday. H receives a call from his former criminal employer Mike, who led the gang that previously fled from H. Mike requests H's assistance for one final heist, assuring him that his involvement would be minimal. H drives with Dougie to the docks, where the robbery is planned, and only provides Mike with the truck's route information. As H and Dougie grab some food, the cement truck robbers strike. In the midst of the heist, one of the gunmen orders Dougie out of the van, escalating the situation to a new level of danger. H sees the chaos unfolding and desperately runs to save his son, but a scarred gunman shoots Dougie before H can reach him. In a horrific moment, Dougie is killed, and H is shot multiple times, collapsing in a pool of blood. H slips into a coma for nearly 3 weeks. When he awakens, he is confronted with the devastating news of Dougie's death. His ex-wife, Jane, devastated and furious, blames H for their son's tragic fate. Determined to seek vengeance, H meets with Mike and his crew, who all feel a sense of responsibility for what happened to Dougie. They vow to help H track down the killers. The group dives into the criminal underworld, relentlessly interrogating various gangs. Their persistence pays off when they extract the names of a group of notorious criminal brothers. H is led to a dilapidated building where the brothers operate, involved in every imaginable crime. When they fail to provide any useful information, H exacts his revenge by killing them. To get closer to the truth, H takes a job at Fortico, keenly observing the guards. He asks his assistant Kirsty for files on the guards and an autopsy report on Dougie's death. Meanwhile, we meet the crew responsible for the initial heist, a team of disgruntled ex-veterans from Afghanistan, led by a man named Jackson. The team includes Carlos, Sam, Tom, Brad, and Jan, the very man who killed Dougie and shot H. These men, regarded as outcasts, plan their heists with meticulous precision. At a party, Jackson's crew plots their next robbery, preparing an arsenal of weapons as Jackson assures them that their intel is solid, thanks to a reliable inside man who once served under him. Disguised as construction workers, they load up their weaponry. As they gather around a lunch table, H and Dougie arrive at the scene, and Sam is instructed to keep an eye on them. Meanwhile, the Fortico van driving down the street is ordered to stop. It is then blocked in and lifted by an excavator, allowing the crew to storm in, take the guards hostage, and transfer the cash to their vehicle. During the heist, Sam forces Dougie out of the car and onto the ground. A guard attempts to fight back but is overpowered by Jan, who shoots him and the other guard dead. Jan notices Dougie witnessing the crime and shoots him. H notices and begins running to save his son, but he is also shot by Jan, who leaves him lying in a pile of blood. Fast forward 5 months, the crew hasn't taken any heists due to the heat Jan brought upon them. However, Jackson targets an even bigger score, $180 million. This final heist is not a cash truck like they are used to. This time they plan to hit the Fortico depot on Black Friday. The score is to be split with their inside man, who is yet to be revealed. As Jackson and Tom refine their plans weeks in advance, they express concerns over Jan's unpredictable behavior. Despite their worries, Jackson remains confident Jan will comply when it matters. Tension mounts as the day of the heist comes. Terry instructs all drivers to be extra cautious today and to report even the slightest wisp of danger. H and Bullet head out to make their pickups for the day. After the final pickup, they make their way back to the depot, but in a shocking twist, Bullet reveals to H that he is the mole, providing the crew with information on which trucks to target. He tells H to comply with the crew's instructions and he will be spared. Bullet then disables the truck's security cameras and drives into an abandoned building where Jackson's crew is waiting. H is forced out at gunpoint. After tying H's hands, they infiltrate the truck and Bullet drives to the depot with the crew in the back. Once they enter the depot, it's showtime. They start the heist without initial resistance. The guards comply, lying face down, but chaos erupts when one guard hits the emergency button. Bullets fly, and the robbers blow open the door to the money stash, executing everyone in sight and turning the scene into a bloodbath. Despite their brutal efficiency, one of the robbers is injured. Once the area is cleared, Jan switches off the emergency button and opens the gates for the last man with the getaway car. They begin loading the cash unaware there is still guards unaccounted for. Dana and the guard notify the SWAT team. The SWAT team rushes to the scene, needing 8 minutes to arrive. The cops manage to block the entrance, and the SWAT team is closing in. Amidst the chaos, H seizes the opportunity, grabs a gun from one of the assailants, and shoots him in the leg. He then puts the man in a chokehold until he stops moving. Thinking quickly, H dons the assailant's bulletproof gear and approaches another robber loading cash into the truck. He makes him remove his helmet, and seeing it's not his son's killer, he pulls the trigger, eliminating him. Dana and another guard begin shooting at the crew, pinning them down. Jackson's men are running out of time. Bullet then reveals his true allegiance by running over to Dana, pretending to help. When handed a gun, he betrays them, executing both Dana and the other guard. In the corridor, Dave attempts to join the fight but is shot down. Terry is then being called out by the soldier, but H emerges, engaging in a fierce one-on-one battle. Although injured, H manages to eliminate his opponent. Jackson's men, now desperate, pick up their injured comrade and make a run for their vehicle. H, fueled by rage and a thirst for vengeance, grabs an assault rifle and opens fire on them, refusing to let them escape. Dave manages to get back up and rejoins the fight, helping H in holding them down. He fires at the injured soldier, finishing him off. A deadly shootout takes place, and with the SWAT team only 2 minutes out, the crew is is stressed for time. Suddenly, H hears a click behind him. Bullet shoots and incapacitates him, thinking he's dead. Bullet reloads and calls Dave, falsely claiming that the shooters have left. As Dave peeks out, Bullet eliminates him also. In the chaos, H gets a good look at Jan and recognizes him as Dougie's killer. They lock eyes in a deadly stare down before the crew opens the gate and rams their armored truck through 2 police cars. A high-speed chase ensues, with SWAT teams and helicopters hot on their trail. Despite taking some damage, the robbers manage to escape in a basement, sealing the entrance behind them. With only 5 minutes to escape, they plan to flee through an underground access tunnel unknown to the public. During the skirmish, H managed to land a shot that grazed Jackson's neck. Forced to abandon the mission, Jan ruthlessly finishes Jackson off. He and Bullet load the money into an elevator and make their way underground, transferring the bags onto quad bikes. They ride 3 miles to a car, but when Bullet realizes Jan is a traitor, he attempts to kill him. Jan, however, acts first, blowing Bullet's brains out and escaping with all the loot. Knowing there are hundreds of tunnels, the police are unable to cover all exits in time, allowing Jan to make a clean getaway. Sometime later, Jan is seen in an apartment with all the cash. He receives a phone call from inside one of the bags. He doesn't answer, but then H appears behind him. Jan turns around shocked and asks him what he wants. H throws Dougie's autopsy report at him. Confused, Jan looks inside and reads that Dougie was shot in his liver, lung, spleen, and heart. Jan looks at Dougie's photo and recalls H staring at him from the floor. H methodically shoots Jan in the liver, making him squeal, then the lungs. Jan remembers Dougie on the floor, his life slipping away. H continues to the spleen and finally the heart, mirroring the autopsy report. With Jan dead, H leaves the apartment, meeting Agent King outside. King assures him that the job is done and that they can presumably recover the stolen money. H then gets into a car with another man and drives away, the grim satisfaction of vengeance lingering in the air. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.